All right. Well, I am so excited for tonight. So my name is Shanda Wright, and I am going to be your speaker and presenter. My story actually is kind of crazy. Like 4 years ago, I had $1 million in debt because I had some investments that went the wrong way. I had a shoe addiction, made some horrible financial decisions, and since then have been able to pay it all off. And it's been a journey. It's been one that's been challenging, and it's been one that's been exciting. And what I'm really grateful for is the opportunity to have other women come alongside. Ariel and Stacy, if you guys are here, I know that I'm kind of springing this on you, but I would love it if you put up your hands. That would be amazing to me. All right. So we're going to go over a few key, okay, that's awesome. Erin, we know what it's like. You're not the only one here with a baby on your lap for this event, so no problem at all. So yeah, in the process of paying off this debt, I went and I had to travel around the world and learn this specific, like these skill sets. I had to learn how to master money. I had to learn the process of putting my money to work for me. I had to understand what to do with the money that came into my bank account. And it was fundamentally different to see success, what I had to do with the money that came in versus what I had to do to not see success. And I've been on both sides of that. And so I want to, today we're going to go over the first 5 steps for you on how you can create that kind of freedom for yourself financially in the next 3 to 5 years. We've got a couple of amazing speakers that have done it themselves. They've really made a big difference in their debt load. So you're going to hear a little bit about how that process works, what it feels like to go from having debt to not, and also some implementable actions for you to take right now so that you can start moving towards debt freedom. So what I would love to see, okay, let me see. All right, so just hold on 1 second. I'm gonna get the slideshow up and running. Okay, so the whole goal is we're gonna crush our debt, right? So at She's Creating an Empire, we believe that financial freedom does not come at a sacrifice for the rest of your life. In fact, when we get better, everything gets better. So we educate women on leveraged income, debt-free living, and compound interest. Because we know that if you're not trading time for money, you actually have income streams that pay you whether or not you put time into them. And you're living below your means, and you have more than enough money at the end of each month, and your money goes to work, and we put little overalls on it and we send it out to work, then it brings more of its friends back. When you have that dynamic for yourself, you will have this peace and freedom. Oh, walls. I think you're... It does that when you join the room. So that happens. It like turns on the audio, but turns off the camera. It seems a little backward to me, but maybe not. I trust the guys that are making Webinar Jam, right? So when you've got all of these different elements, then when you're not running in one stream, here, Jules, do you know how to, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Amazing. Do you see at the top where it has like the little, it looks like one of those old webcams that used to sit on the top of our computer there? Kind of looks like a little spy eye or something like that. That turns on and off your video, but right next to that is a microphone. Yeah, if you want to hit that until you're on camera, that would be amazing. I appreciate you. And so when you have your money making you money, when you make income from multiple sources and none of them are tied up with how you spend your time, just in terms of how you create impact in the world, how you bring services to the marketplace, leveraging technology, leveraging money, leveraging other people so that you can have that, it's absolutely life-changing. And I have gone and lived that story. Literally, I was working 3 jobs. I was working 100 hours a week, and that's all I could do, right? I just wanted to get ahead. I wanted to feel the sense of pressure relief. I got to adulting. I want to know if I was the only one who got to adulting and was like, excuse me, like, are you kidding? We just pay bills all day. That's what this whole deal was about. All this time as a kid, all I wanted to be was an adult because I thought they got to decide when they ate chocolate and like what time they went to bed. And I thought being an adult was freedom. And then I get to adulting and I'm like, no, this is so much worse. I just want to go back and ride bikes. Did you guys get to adulting? And like, put a 1 in the chat if you also wanted a refund when you got here. I just couldn't believe it. I think it was this, they call it a quarter life crisis. I was just blown away by how much work it was to pay bills all the time. I just want to go back to riding bikes and playing dress up. And so when and that's how I felt. I literally was so overwhelmed, right? I'm working 100 hours a week. I'm working a full-time job and then a full-time job after it. I've got all of these things that, and I tried. You don't get into $1 million in debt unless you like invest in some things that don't go well. Like maybe you could, but mostly it's just really, really bad. You have to make a couple of big, stupid decisions. And so, when I think about that, it was because I was trying. I went out, I got rental properties, thought that would be cash flow positive. Not at all. I went out and I wrote business plans for different businesses and it just didn't work at all. And have you guys ever heard of Robert Kiyosaki? Have you guys ever heard of him? Like Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Seriously, I'm like, I felt the same way. At 18, that's not true. At 18, 19, I think I knew more than I ever knew in my life. And I've been getting dumber and dumber and dumber ever since. I had everything figured out at 19, but by 23, the world had humbled me pretty solidly. It was like, yeah, you think so, girl. Right? Okay, so you guys have heard of Robert Kiyosaki. So he does this book called Cash Flow Quadrant. I highly recommend it if you haven't read it. Then read Cash Flow Quadrant. He literally talks about why most people don't have enough time or enough money. Do you guys know anyone who's busy and broke? Can we put a 2 in the chat if you know some people that are busy and broke? Just crazy. It's just so crazy to me to see how broken the system is, because otherwise most people wouldn't be in that situation. So I had to unlearn and relearn some things, and that's what we're about. That's why we focus on education, because when you educate a woman, then you educate a family. And when you educate a family, you're going to educate a community. And when you educate a community, that's when you impact nations. And we're on a mission to educate and empower over 1 million women to have businesses, bank accounts, and brands that they love. Just imagine that. Think about that. What would it feel like to love your bank account? To love your business? To love your brand? To have pivoted and moved everything online seamlessly and know exactly how to attract more of your tribe. So you're never at a deficit. Like this is what we want for everybody. What we want for ourselves, we want for everyone. And, I think about it. Someone said to me the other day, it's like, yeah, I had Rich Dad, Poor Dad. But for me, I had like Rich Mom, Poor Mom. And Melanie, who's the CEO and founder of She's Creating an Empire, is very much my like rich mom. Like she was the first person that ever showed me what it was like to build the kind of success that I wanted. And it was by creating a mission that's based in impact and understanding how money works. And that's all it takes. And so that's why we want to share this with you, because it's really not complicated. It's just different than how we've been taught to charge for money, to do one-on-one consulting, to get a job and trade hourly pay or salaried pay, to not make too much money because you'll bump yourself up a tax bracket. The worst tax situation I've ever seen is like my friend who was a high-paid employee who lived in their principal residence, lived in the home that they owned. And I was like, she pays way more taxes than I do. And so it's not just about what we make, it's what we keep. And that's really our focus, is to educate you on how to keep more of it. Okay, so the system's broken, period, end of story. I could go off on this. I may end up doing that. We'll see if I can stay calm. I don't like playing games that I can't win. And I don't like that we're sold, this is how you win. So here are some statistics for you. The average student loan is $32,731. The average person makes $35,977. Takes an average person 18 and a half years to pay off their student loans. 5% on our annual returns is considered a good year for your investments in your RRSPs, your 401ks. According to Forbes, 75% of jobs available today will not exist in 10 years, and the math just doesn't work. And so trying to win a game where it doesn't add up is the part that makes me upset, because I worked so hard, guys, like 100 hours a week. I was trying everything. I did joint venture partnerships and I did sweat equity and I took on side jobs and I tried to buy businesses. I did everything I could and I just couldn't win. And it just was exhausting. So here's a few other statistics that kind of got me going. A $2,000 credit card balance with an 18% annual interest rate with a minimum payment of $40 would take you 370 months or just over 30 years to pay off. 9 out of 10 people die and or are broke by 65. It's just as hard to make 6 figures as it is to make 50K a year. Actually had no idea. Women make 25% less than men. The average median inheritance in North America is $66,000. That's what people leave to their children. And 50% of marriages end in divorce. 50% of those divorces are caused by finances. So 75% of marriages would be together if it wasn't for money troubles. And I know that that would change some things financially and logistically in our world. And so what I can say is when I see these numbers, and there's a few more that really get me upset, like 75% of seniors in poverty are women. And 80% of those women were not in poverty prior to their men passing because the man knew where all the money was. So the lack of financial literacy is a cause for over 50% of the impoverished seniors, over 50% of the divorces. People aren't leaving anything for their children. We aren't commanding the money that we deserve in the marketplace. We're settling for less than we deserve. And then we use compound interest against ourselves. You can't win that way. It's like running the opposite direction of the goalpost. You just can't. And so that's what we're here to do with She's Creating an Empire, is equip you to actually work outside the system. Just use money the way it's meant to so that you can win and have your freedom. Okay, so here we go. I want you to see this for yourself. This is the exercise that got me serious about this. Okay, so I want all of you to do this with me. How much money have you made over the last 5 years? You made 50 grand a year, that's 250,000. 100 grand a year, that's 500,000. 30 grand a year, that's 150,000. Okay. How much do you have left? Now, this is where I tricked myself because I had rental income and I had equity in my home, but the money I was paying to maintain those properties actually put me in the hole. So it looked good if I didn't factor in my rental income. Oh. But once I added that up, because maybe you guys have an asset, maybe you guys have a rental property. Great. So add your rental income on top of your personal income. How much money do you have left? Where did it go? How much time did you spend making that money? And was it worth it? All the things you traded to be at work all day, to be tired, to be exhausted, to be short with the people you love. Was it worth it? Where are you going to be 5 years from now? When I asked myself these questions, honestly, it rocked me to my core because the truth is not I had made good money, but I didn't have any left. And it went to stupid things. And it was not worth it. And I'm so sick and tired of doing stuff I don't want to do, to pay for stuff I don't need, to impress people I don't even like. I'm over it. And I want you to know how to be over it too. So here's some fun numbers. Did you know that in order to have $1 million at retirement, which I don't know about you, but I sure as heck can't retire on $1 million. But let's say you could. At 6% annual interest rate, which based on the statistics that's good. At 20 years old, every single month you'd have to invest $361. At 25, it would be $500. At 30, it would be $700 a month. At 35, it'd be $990 a month. 40, $1,400. 45, $21. How many of you here see your age on that and think, I cannot do that every month? So it's not even possible, and you can't even retire on that. And then there's this lovely energy. I'm very conscious of the energy that I'm in when I'm making financial decisions. Picture this. Now I meet retired people who hope they die before they run out of money. Can you imagine waking up every day saying, I hope I die before I run out of this? Gross. And I actually work with a lot of nurses, and the amount of people that they say come in within a year of retiring into those hospitals and get diagnosed with something fatal is astronomical. Astronomical. I do not want to get so busy making a living that I forget to make a life. I refuse to sacrifice my life. I'm okay with short-term adjustments in my priorities for long-term gain, but I will not suffer for 40 years in a job that I hate to retire and maybe enjoy a few years of a life that is half of what I really wanted anyways. Right? Yeah, I believe you did, Kayla. It's just crazy what people put off until later. And if we have time and we have money, then we can. Okay, so here's the steps to paying off debt. You're probably going to want to have your camera ready because there's some very specific instructions. The first thing is you have to know why you want it and what you want. So you're going against 95% of all people. We have to be prepared to be unpopular, right? You are going to do the thing no one is going to do. So it's not cool. No one's going to support you in it. Why? Because we haven't been trained to pay off our debt. That's not a priority for people. How many people, you put a picture on your Facebook saying, I just paid off 100 grand in debt, versus you take a picture of your new car and you show me which one people celebrate. Okay? We know this. You've seen it, right? I get a new car, I get more people liking that picture than any thoughtful thing that I posted. So it's just not going to be common. So when we're going against the grain, right? If 95% of people, if 9 out of 10 people are either dead or broke at 65, how do we not be like most people? Well, we have to be willing to to do the things people that are most people don't agree with, right? You have to do the things that other people aren't doing by definition. In order to do that, you have to have something inside of you that's stronger than their opinions, because we are an opinion-led culture. That's why media works, right? We don't want to be in a situation where someone is, maybe you do, maybe someone else's opinions do run your life. I'm just saying you're not going to pay off your debt unless you decide that you're going to do something that's unpopular. And there's a few ways that you can really anchor that. And these are the questions that I recommend asking. So why does removing the stress of debt matter to you? What happens if it doesn't happen? What happens if you stay in debt? What happens if this keeps crushing you? What happens if your debt continues to be something that every single year gets more and more and more? What happens if the next 5 years look like the last five years? And imagine you had all the money in the world. What would you, everything. Imagine you had $100 million in your bank account. What would your life look like? So in my experience, you need to know what you're moving away from and what you're moving towards in order to have complete conviction and momentum in any new activity. So looking at what I don't want about right now and what I do want about the future, those are the things that will keep me guarded from other people's opinions of me. So with that being said, I have a couple of amazing ladies who have gone and they have done it. They have crushed their debt. They are absolutely rocking and rolling. And I would love for you to hear their stories. So I'm going to have, Jules, will you start with us? This lady is so sweet and so diligent and so consistent and so encouraging inside of our community. And I saw her story about going through the financial fitness rounds and her impact in debt in her world when it came to debt. And I had to have you hear it. She's just amazing and looking absolutely stunning tonight. I'm so glad you're here with us. So I actually I do want to keep this up because I would like for you to answer, like do your, actually, I'll do it without this. So we'll do a quick prior to and since, like a little quick, like prior to she's creating an empire, where were you? What was your debt situation like? where are you now? And then I'll have you answer those questions because I think it would be good for them to see someone else's perspective. So would you tell us a little bit about who you are and, where you were before She's Creating an Empire and where you are now?
Sure. Can you all hear me okay? Awesome. I'm so excited to share a space with you, Shanda and Lakeisha. Thank you for having me on tonight because I don't know where I would be without this group right now. I also have to give a huge shout out to my coach, Darla DeGrande. And so many of you know Darla's story, but I kind of want to backtrack a little bit because I was introduced to her 10 years ago, probably, in a different company. And I actually I had a hard time relating to her story. She still tells the same story today. Many of you that have heard her talk, she talks about how she's made millions and she's lost millions and she's made millions. And so 10 years ago, I was in this place where I was mucking out horse stalls and driving a tractor. That's what I did for a living. I love horses. So many of us on here can relate to that. And I had no money. I was barely getting by, paycheck to paycheck. And I couldn't relate to that. I was like, I'm trying to be 100-aire or 1,000-aire. Like, is that a thing? Because I don't know what that is to be a millionaire. And so, but something about her just continued to hold me. And I followed her for years and years, maybe even unbeknownst to her, until last August, she sent me a birthday card, actually. And I reconnected with her. I remained friends, and I wanted to know more about what she was doing because clearly, other people were able to do this. And I just thought, well, you know what? I'm going to talk to her, see what happens. She learned about the She's Creating an Empire group and invited me straight away. So I took the transformation challenge back in January. You all, this is awesome. I have only been in this group for 2 months. 2 months. And I'm kind of maybe getting off base, so correct me, Shanda, if you want me to tell more. But after I did the Total Transformation Challenge, I realized I wanted to do that for branding because I wanted to start a business that I had in mind. I actually was licensed in my city to do it, but I didn't have the courage to start it because I didn't know where I wanted to go with it, and I wanted to do it correctly. Well, at that point, I realized I need to take a financial fitness round. I don't even have my finances under control. I'm still over here trying to be a 100-aire, 1,000-aire. I want to be a millionaire. I want to do things so that I can actually help people. And so that's kind of what I did in that order is took the Total Transformation round, took the financial fitness round, and I've had Darla coaching me along the way and been completely plugged in to all of these trainings. With relate to me on that, or maybe all of you. But as I've stayed plugged in, I've really learned more about how to grow my money and about how important it is to believe in myself. That's really what it comes down to, is making the decision that I wasn't going to let anything stop me. I was going to listen, you all. I am busy. I am currently a student. I currently work. I manage an apartment community for my traditional job, which I get it, Shanda. I get it. You want to talk about repairs and replacements and all of those things. It's expensive and wow. So, but I wasn't going to let time get in my way. I wasn't going to let illness get in my way. I wasn't going to let injury get into my way. And I have done all of those things, continued to stay plugged in, really been believing in myself, and made the decision that this is what I want to do. So that's what I would encourage everybody else to do. And you are already doing it if you're on this call.
How much debt have you paid off?
I currently paid off over $5,600 worth of my credit card debt.
Yeah, girl. Yeah, in how many months?
The last month.
Uh-huh. Not bad. I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited to be able to go from with a goal of becoming 100-air to being able to make that big a difference in your financial future all in 1 month. Thank you for being a good student. Thank you for plugging in, and thank you for doing that. So I just want to ask anyone who's been a part of this community for a while, has paid off debt, can you drop the number of fat you found and the dollar amounts that you have that you've paid off in debt? Can you drop it in the chat? I want to see, because I just got to say, Jules, you've done such a phenomenal job of applying this information, and $5,600. Isn't that all your credit card debt?
That is all my credit card debt. In fact, actually, yesterday I got a bill for $5.30 because I didn't shut it off, and I owe interest. So I was all mad because I got a $5.30 bill. So I have to take care of that. But yes, it's done.
Actually, you can usually call and they'll waive that.
Perfect.
Ask them to say, hey, I just made a payment. I paid it all off beforehand. Yeah, it was the first surprise money I ever got was when I called my credit card company to pay off my complete credit card. And they're like, oh, well, it still says you owe us a few $100s. And because it was interest like that too. And then they just canceled it.
Perfect.
So cool. Oh, I'm so proud of you, Lisa. 60 grand in debt. Good job. Yeah, average for fat, Kayla, was $800. That's awesome. $380 a month. You paid off $600. Girl, get it. That's another student. I love this so much. Thank you so much, Jules, for everything. I appreciate you. And now I want to have Lakeisha come on and just tell a little bit about prior to She's Creating an Empire. Where were you? I want to hear your practice. This girl's been her story's so powerful that we've been having her featured on the website and on the Facebook group and whatever. So we've been telling her story lots. And so I'm so excited for you to continue practicing here with us with your storytelling. And yeah, just tell them a little bit about prior to where were you in terms of your financial literacy, in terms of your debt, financially, how many income streams you had, and then now where you are.
Definitely. So first, I just want to say hi, Mel. To just get it out of there, get it out of the way. Prior to
I want to edify you properly. I just realized that I did not do that. And I really want to give you the honor you deserve, because this girl is a freaking star. She sparkles all the time. She's always putting her hand up to be an encourager, and just the kind of person that you would want as a best friend. She's the best cheerleader. She's kind and diligent and focused, and she always implements and just continues falling down and getting back up. You inspire me. And I'm so grateful that you're a part of this community with us. So thank you, Lakeisha, for taking the time today. It means a lot.
Thanks so much, Shanda. I really love being here with you guys just because you inspired me from day one, and I see the way you continue to lift other women up. And so I'm just really happy and grateful to be here with you guys. A little bit about me. Prior to She's Creating an Empire, let me tell you, I have done everything. I have been out of high school. I was a photographer. I ended up working in sales. I even delivered pizzas because I didn't want to work at the Brick. I didn't want to work at retail at Safeway. I've had all kinds of jobs. I've been a carpenter. And then in the end, last summer, I was in my second year of hairstyling. I love doing hair. My specific niche is my type of hair. And in Saskatchewan, we just didn't have the people there to do that. So I was passionate about helping women just like me that struggled with having the confidence that they can go and actually be treated with the same kind of respect that everybody else seems to get treated. But with curly hair, it seems to be a very difficult area. Yes. And then so last summer, when the world did what the world did, you know, I found myself once again just falling a couple steps back. I had previously, when I was a carpenter, I had gotten to a point where I was making $100,000 a year. I didn't have to go to school to do that. I found a really good job that paid really well, but I felt stuck. I felt like I was just doing the same thing over and over again. I literally was doing the same thing over and over again. And there was no actual growth potential anymore because I had been there for 5 years and I was grandfathered and doing all the things that it was just about seniority. So I actually quit my job, went to become a hairstylist because that's what I found I was passionate for. And then, although I was in the beginning stages and things were starting to pick up a lot, everything shut down. So I had no work and I was like, what am I going to do? Before that, I had been in network marketing. I have always had an entrepreneurial spirit to me, but I just didn't know. I also had the job to fall back on. And I didn't really find a fit for myself. So what happened is I got around these ladies and they started talking to me. Mel started talking to me and I was like, you know what? I need to change. I need to change what I'm doing because if I don't change, like honestly, the whole world shut down. If I don't change now, I'm going to be left in the dust. Like, ladies, if you feel like you are in a tough spot now, you need to do something different now because it's not going to get any better. It's not going to get any easier. I decided to jump in here and do my first financial fitness round in September. And since then, I've paid off $45,000 in debt. It was 40 grand in like 3 months. And it was the perfect timing to have these ladies come into my life. Honestly, I had money come in that I sat and I thought about it for a little bit. And I was just like, oh, I could save a little bit of this and like put it in savings and just like keep some of it. But I decided to actually put it on my debt because I was able to pay off my student loan in 19 months. It was a 101-month term loan, and I paid it off in 19 months because that is not pushing me forward. So if you're here today and you feel like it's hard, it's difficult, like, no. What's difficult is if you stay where you're at. Those statistics are unbelievable. I found out years ago that same thing, if you carry over 16 grand debt on your credit card and you only pay the minimum, you're still going to pay 64 grand. You're going to pay more than double, triple what you're already paying. So if you have debt, you need to get rid of it now, starting today. Do something different now so that your future self will thank you. I promise you, you won't regret it. That's it.
Girl, I'm so proud of you. This is so exciting to me. And like, I can't tell you how amazing it is to be a part of your journey. Both of you ladies, like to see you come in and then to see you like get it, right? Because money is one of those things that we feel like we don't get. Like you're looking at $500 and you're like, what if I just put this into a savings account just in case? What just in case? What are we just in casing for? Just in case we run out of everything? No, we're going to go build an empire. We're going to create income streams so that our biggest financial problem is what do we do with the money, right? Like your focus on creating complete, like being able to change in that kind of pressure environment and focusing on where you're going instead of where you're at. So inspiring. You ladies are just incredible. So
hang on one second, Shanda. And so here's the thing. Both of them came in maybe hoping it would work, but not necessarily believing it would work. For sure, I know Lakeisha was like, I had a couple conversations with her where she's like, so are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. So she did the thing, which is awesome. But I want to ask the ladies on the line tonight, for the attendees here, whether it's your first time or you've been around for a long time, how many people do you know that could use the information that we're sharing here tonight to be able to pay off their debt? How many people do you know that literally It would change everything if they could figure out how to free up money without having to do something crazy, but actually be able to pay off their debt in the next 3 to 5 years, including their mortgage. Imagine what a difference that would make. And what if those same women went out and taught their sisters, brothers, children, grandparents, and parents? Because let me tell you, I meet seniors in their 70s who are literally every single day upgrading their houses. Like they've got equity, so the people phone and give them a loan on their equity. And I'm just like, to pay off, I'm just like, okay, yeah, we can do equity loans, but we don't do them to upgrade to a higher lifestyle that you literally don't need. So you guys understand that part of our mission here with She's Creating an Empire is we don't keep good secrets to ourselves. I was literally in a meeting today. Sorry, I got stuff on my camera. Was in a meeting today with leaders from another company, and you guys understand that we have people from all companies. We have people from, you pick a company, they're here. You pick a company, they're taking these rounds, they're involved in the education. But literally, they were talking about how they were working with these high-level men, and the women, they were shocked at the collaboration. Well, we're not shocked here because we know that our hearts is to help each other. But we can't reach the million people we want to reach without you. And I personally believe that when you educate a female, you can change a community. When you change a community, literally, it's a family, the community, and then the nation that shifts. How many of you believe that this nation, meaning North America, Australia, Europe, we need to experience a secure and severe shift so that we can take responsibility of our finances and actually build for ourselves an economy? If you think that's a good idea right now, drop a 1 in the chat. If you think it's a good idea for women to get educated so we can make a difference in the world, so we can take back our power and build out for ourselves empires, drop a 1 in the chat. Because here is my challenge. I'm going to pass it back to you, Shanda. I want every single person. I don't care if you've been here for 1 hour. You don't even know who we are. I'm looking for people who will help us expand the mission of educating women. So what I need you to do directly after this event is I need you to go add 10 people to our Facebook group. That's what we need. It's free. They get this education. They get even more than that. They get support, uplifting. They get a positive place to be. They get a safe place to come with their, hot mess selves and not have to be anything other than what they are. So you guys, yes, we're learning about debt tonight, but we need for you to join us on our mission so that we can impact the people. And listen, you don't have to be the expert. We've got the education, we've got the curriculum, we've got all that stuff. But what we do need is your partnership. So I'm going to pass it back to Shanda, but only after I say, listen, Shanda came 4 years ago, one of those hot mess people, like literally everything on the outside, corporate, everything looked good, smelt good, all the business accolades and the rental houses, everything she'd been taught how to do. She would not literally, or could not, maybe is a better way to say it, put down her guard long enough, because in the real world, when you put your guard down, you are going to get attacked. That is the reality. The reality is, if you expose yourself in the real world, if you're authentic and you say, I've got these problems and I've got these solutions, maybe you're winning in an area but losing in another area. When you do that in the real world, man, your counterparts that want your job, they'll take you out like that. That is literally the exact opposite of what we're building here. How many of you would like to have a safe place to bring your daughters, your sisters, your mothers, your wives, all the things where they can be themselves and actually get cured on the way to the hospital? Because that's what we're doing. We don't got it all figured out, but I do promise you this, we've got each other's backs. We're here creating an environment, a community where you can come pay off your debt. You can even admit you have debt. You could even admit maybe you had a bankruptcy one time, or maybe you have a credit card that you can't pay off and you got to steal money from your phone bill to pay we've all been there. Dude, I used to not pay my hydro so I could pay my phone, and then I'd pay the minimum on my credit card, and then I'd borrow off my credit card to pay my hydro. It was messed up. So you can just come here and do the thing, and there's no judgment. But I'm going to say, you're not a tree, right? You're not a tree. You can move. You can move. And that's what Shanda chose to do. Shanda is by far the best example of somebody who knows that she cannot solve a problem on the same level of thinking it was created. She came and asked for help. She was honest. She was sincere. She took correction. She went out and did the thing even when she didn't want to. She's like, I feel like I was kind of a bag. I'm like, well, maybe in your head, but you just did the thing. And now she's here. And every single one of you can do that right. Yes, you can literally go from zero where you are now, and maybe you've got a job that's a good job, but you want to transition into an online life. Maybe you want to have a laptop lifestyle. Maybe you want to pay off your debt. Maybe all those things. You can do it, but you're not a tree. You got to move. So if you want to learn, I'm telling you guys, Shanda is literally the person that has been the most consistent, especially in this debt arena. And I want you guys to sit up and pay attention, because she is literally for free training you guys tonight. So Shanda, thank you for everything you do for the community. Thank you for your leadership, for your authority, for the way that you've applied everything and actually done the thing you're asking them to do. That's another thing. Shanda's not going to ask you to do the thing she didn't do. So that's a big thing. So when she says she has, did you tell them about your car? Did you tell them what you did with your car? No, you didn't tell them? She drove a Beetle with a Zap strap bumper for, 2 years so she could pay off her debt. Then she got a Mercedes. But the point is, she
got to donate my car.
And donated her car to a family that needed it. So which is very cool. So I just wanted to throw that in there because I want them to know, number one, they're not a tree they can move. Number two, this community is a place they can come and be themselves. You got debt, let's go. We don't care. You had a bankruptcy, so what? You've had a divorce, who cares? Whatever. Who hasn't? So also, you can start off, if you're in your 20s, doing it right. You can start off doing it right. You can learn the principles. If you're a mama, teach your girls, right? You can lead the way. So with that, Shanda, I will pass it back to you.
Thank you so much, ladies. I am so grateful for each and every one of you, because the truth is that, it's one thing to know what to do. It's another thing to do it. And my absolute favorite thing is when people apply the information they're given, and working with doers and finishers is very rewarding for me. Okay, so now we know what we want, why we want it. We want to be like them, like us, right? Now, second step, know where you're at. You're going to print off the last 3 months of your bank statements, and you're going to highlight the fat. The fat is anything that's non-essential. These are things that if you were homeless, you would not purchase. Okay, that's the criteria for fat. You're going to be humbled by that. Just know that you didn't do anything wrong. You were just taught incorrectly. Okay, create a list of the debts that you have. Include the minimum payment, the payment date, the balance, and the interest rate. Once you know where you're at, then you can continue to build from there to where you're going, right? So step 3, get more money. This is one of the things that I did not do for the first couple of years, and it made the journey to debt freedom much harder. I just continued to every dollar that I paid off in debt and every dollar that I brought into my home, I actually reinvested in my skill set. Because like Melanie said, I believe that if you want something, you have to learn from people who have it, or you have to make a ton of mistakes. And I was really sick and tired of feeling like I had made a mistake or that I was losing. I was really sick of that feeling, and I didn't want to do it anymore. And when I found out it's so much better with mentorship and partnership and coaching, I was like, yeah, I'll pay the cheap way, which is always to pay someone for their experience in my life. So I didn't do this for the first 2 years, but once I did, it was like that overnight. And so when you understand how to start leverage income streams, how to utilize the internet, if your business isn't online right now, that's why we say business, brand, and bank account. We can help you do that. And it's all a part of the getting more money, because once you know how to get the money and keep the money and grow the money, that's complete freedom. So start leverage income streams. What do we mean by leverage? What does that mean? You're leveraging other people's time, you're leveraging money, or you're leveraging technology to create income, period. It means that it's not you. So we're going to teach you how to do that, right? If you don't, what I would start thinking about some ideas of leveraged income. I mean, I tried rental. It's my least favorite. Don't recommend being a landlord. Online marketing, evergreen courses. Some people do network marketing. You can create a consulting company. There's so many different ways. It's hard to scale them though. One of the biggest mistakes that I see people get into is they start working for themselves, or they start working online, and they don't think about how can I scale this so that it ultimately does not own me. And they end up with a really like self-built prison. I worked in the radio station. I worked with over 500 small business owners. Most of them do not have more time or more money than most people. So if I'm not going to take on more risk to make less money with more time, I'm not going to do that again. I did that many times. Don't recommend it. But trading, if you're trading time for money, even if you're a consultant and you're charging $200 an hour or $300 or $500 an hour, you will always run out of time before you run out of money. Sell things you don't need. That's probably one of my favorite ones because it's pretty incredible what you can do on Marketplace. If you really have time, but you don't have money and you need to go and do that, it's one of the best ways. I know people that make 60 to 80 grand a year flipping stuff on the internet. So the question is, how bad do you want it, right? And what I love is that we have that kind of flexibility. So you can flip things that are in your home, and you can use that money to build up into things with higher margin, or you can just sell things directly online. It's like a garage sale 12 months of the year. Trade in kind for your current expenses. It's when we talk about getting more money, it's not just about income. It's also about reducing that monthly nut. The first goal financially that I have for my students is specifically, let's get your first cash flowing asset to cover your monthly nut, right? Once your monthly nut is covered by cash flow, it's game over. So let's get your monthly nut down to the point you should be able to get it down a couple of grand. You should be able to, $2,000 or $3,000. You can cut your income, your expenses there. Most people aren't willing to sacrifice and drive around a car with 400,000 kilometers on it and zap straps holding it together and get made fun of and then rent out every room in their house and do the deal. But most people don't have $1 million in debt.
You also only have to do it until you have what we call freedom money. Freedom money is leveraged and residual income that covers your monthly bills where you're not going to work for it. So imagine, in my mind, because I think this is a big conversation, Shanda, like I know that there's a lot of people that will teach restriction, which is one thing, but it's good. You want that. You need to bring it down to bring it back up again. But I remember when you came and you said, well, when do I have to not do this? And I'm like, well, you have to not do that when there's more than enough, right? So you guys, what I really want you to know is that this is a short-term game for a long-term win. And most people want to play now and they pay later. But you can actually pay now and play later, and the later doesn't have to be that far down the road. So just so you know, we now enjoy all the things. Like, pick a thing, I enjoy the thing. But I had to get the money game straight first. So I just wanted to say that because I feel like sometimes we think, well, maybe it's not worth it, or, life is short, right? That was one of the things that I don't know if you battled with this, Shanda. Shanda's a little bit more disciplined than me, but I, battled with a couple of times, well, shouldn't I enjoy my life now? Yeah, you should, but we can work that into your plan while you're paying off your debt. So eventually you're free, because there's nothing like owing no man anything and having all the money flowing towards you.
It's a totally different, I believe, if you're in debt, it's because this is my personal experience. So just know that I'm speaking from my perspective. But I believe that if you're in debt right now, it's because you are too proud to live a life where other people don't respect you for your external things. And I believe the process of paying off debt and building wealth, because we are here to break generational curses, build generational wealth. That's what we're here to do. If your parents are not wealthy, then I'm sorry, it's your job. So that's what we're here to do. We're here to get wealthy for our great-great-grandchildren. We're here to create an empire that impacts people for generations. Okay, this isn't just about, getting to a point where you can stop paying your Visa bill. This is about making it so that your child never knows what a Visa bill feels like. That your daughter doesn't know what it feels like to not pay a certain bill so that you can pay the other bill this month. It's so that they never have that. They never cry looking at their bank account, and they never avoid looking at it because they're scared. This is about not only you getting your money game right, but you setting the example for generations. Because if it's going to be, it's up to you, period. My family, my future children will be fine. Why? Because I'm going to do everything it takes. And what's it going to take? Everything it takes. Now, what does wealth look like to you? Some people, it's enough cash flowing assets that they don't have to go to work. That's amazing. If that's your definition of success, let's do that. I'm going to free 286,000 children from sex trafficking. I'm going to create legacy wealth so that my children's children know who I am because I set them free. I'm going to retire all of my parents, all of them. And that's a thing for me. But the reason that I love this program is because in under 3 to 5 years, you can be on a huge trajectory shift. You know, if you think about that story of walking across a field, if you change your direction by 10%, you end up in a very different place. This isn't that. This is a 180. Right? You're moving away from poverty. You're moving away from lack. You're moving away from, but the first step is humility, because if it's going to be, it's up to you. So how do we take radical responsibility for our situation? This is how. We have to make those short-term sacrifices. This is my belief. I needed to be humbled before I could build something that was worth building and that had the integrity and the heart of compassion and love and abundance and all those things. And it's so funny because I can't separate them now. But I remember that conversation, Melanie, like debt-free, now what? It's like, now what do I do? Well, now we build the empire. So what we do at She's Creating an Empire is we don't start with debt. We don't say, oh, here, lack for the next 3 to 5 years and suffer and endure and like eat ramen. And, you know, this is about doing it all at once, which can be a lot. But that's why we have coaches. That's why we have mentors. That's why we have courses. That's why we're here. Because not everyone knows how to negotiate their bills from $90 down to $30. But I do. Not everyone knows how to decide where to put their debt so that they can have the lowest interest rate, but I do. And so do the rest of us. It's how we got here. You don't pay off $5,600 worth of debt in 1 month because you won the lottery. It's because you use the money different. So, you know, we want to equip you with those tools and those resources so that you can spend the next 3 to 5 years creating an empire that you can enjoy for hundreds of years. Okay. So step 4, okay, now we have more money. We know where the money's going. Now we got to do it. You got to pay the debt off. So you're going to take the money that you have brought in and pay off the smallest debt first. Now, some people, and this is going to be specific to you, they actually go with their highest interest rate debt first. The difference is a couple of things, depends on the fees for the account, depends on the payment amounts, depends on what the payment terms are. Your goal is to decrease how much money you're paying in interest and increase how much you're putting onto your debt load. Okay. So some of those decisions you'll have to make for yourself, but typically there is something so satisfying about cutting up a credit card. I want you to have that. Go for the smallest one first. Feel like you're winning. Cancel a line on your budget. Get rid of it because you're going to love the way it feels and it's going to get you addicted. There's something I used to have this whiteboard up there that I got paid on the 1st and the 15th. I had all of the bills that needed to be on each one and their payment amounts. And when I got to erase one off of there, payday was like, it was like the game. I'm winning today. I feel like I'm winning every payday because I'm going in and I'm watching and I'm updating the numbers and they're getting smaller and smaller. But truthfully, when I got to delete an entire one, oh, you all need to feel that. So I just recommend the smallest one because I think that win feels really good. Now, once the total is paid off on that credit card, so say you're making $100 a month minimum payment, you're putting an extra $200 a month onto that because you found some fat in your budget. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to take that money that you were paying onto that credit card and put it onto the next one. And then do that again and do that again and do that again. It's called snowballing. You just, as it snowballs, it goes faster, right? That's the idea. So those are the 4 steps when you're learning something new. Okay. And I have to tell you, doing things that 95% of people aren't doing is the best financial advice I can give you. Also, it's going to be the hardest thing you've ever done. Why? Because everyone is going to say that it's not. No one's going to cheer you on unless you're in a group of people that have the same direction. Why? Because we congratulate cars not income streams. Why? Because we congratulate the superficial stuff, because we've been taught to. It's just programming. But how do we do that? We decide what we want. We find the people with the results so we can follow them. We learn from mentors and training with proven results, because I can tell you that all those times where I thought I might be crazy and that I almost bought into the lie that said, maybe it's not about that. Maybe I can't do it. Maybe it's not real. Maybe debt freedom isn't for me. When I saw Melanie, I was like, nope, she has what I want. And I can trust her to show me, because think about this. Hindsight is 20/20. We can all agree on that. You're teaching your kids something, you're teaching someone something, you're like, I get this. I can see because it's behind me. What if someone who you were following, their hindsight was what you wanted? That's having someone that I could just follow even when I didn't feel like it, even when I didn't know how to do it. That was probably the best thing I ever did. And then surround yourself with supportive, like-minded people. So that's why we have She's Creating an Empire, right? So at She's Creating an Empire, we believe that you deserve to have a business, bank account, and brand that you love. And that's why we have the financial fitness round. So what does a financial fitness round coach you on? How to pay off your debt and stay to the plan even when hiccups come up. How to communicate about money with your partner and your children. Compounding money and extra income streams. How do you create them? Which ones are for you? How to generate 100 leads every week for your business without paid ads. How to set up a trading plan to compound your money so you can put little overalls on it. Send it out to work. How to create clarity, momentum, and ease in the process of building your empire. And it's $197, which is ridiculous. I still think that's ridiculous. But we want more. We're on a mission to impact 1 million women, and I can't do it alone. The four of us cannot reach 1 million women this year or next year. We couldn't do it without you. And so not only do we want to help you, but one of the things that we do for our ladies, because we want to impact nations, is that if you bring 5 people with you, it's free. So I don't know about you, if you know some women who could use some of this sort of information, and this is just a preview. This is what we do in an hour. Imagine what we can do in 4 weeks. So with that, I just want to say there's 3 types of people that see this information. There's a type of person that says, I just want to pay off debt. I just want to get the information. Like, I want to go to the course. There's a second kind of person that says, I don't want to pay for it if I don't got to. And they're going to bring a handful of girlfriends and we're all going to go through it together. They're going to have their accountability circle built in. They're not going to be charged for the event. They're going to have that entire experience for themselves and for their friends. They're going to win together. They're a team sport player. And then there's the third kind of person that says, I see what you're doing and I want to be a part of it. I see where you're going. I believe women need this information. We need to empower the women in our lives and globally. And I want to be a part of what you're doing. And those women, I need to meet you. Melanie needs to meet you because we're looking for people that we can create and build our empire and impact the world with. So I feel like I'm going to have, Melanie, do you have anything else you can add to the?
I think I would just say, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. No, there you go.
Yeah, we're good. So I think I would just say that, we started this round on Monday, which is yesterday. And so oftentimes we get the question, well, where do I start? What do I do? What's my next step? Is it too late? What we've done, you guys, is like literally the whole round is recorded in the group. So meaning if you missed yesterday, you can go in there and watch that tonight. So actually get yourself started. And the one thing that maybe is probably my biggest purpose or passion for She's Creating an Empire is helping you guys uncover your purpose. Why are you here? Like the bigger question of like, what is it that you uniquely can bring to the community, to your life? Maybe you've wanted to serve in a much bigger way. You wanted to make a difference. Maybe you wanted to, I don't know, coach or have a business or do something, but you didn't know what to do. The first week, we actually uncover your mission and your purpose. And let me tell you, it is a game changer. Like the Lakeisha that you see sitting here is not the girl that started. And I believe it was because she got in touch with and was okay to say, I serve women like me. And, you know, it was so funny, Lakeisha, I'll never forget this, when we were on the Zoom and you're like, well, you know, I serve women like me. And you almost hesitated to say beautiful Black millennial like deliciousness. And to me, it's like the fact that you can come here and you can say that was zero. I mean, you need to say that. That needs to be a thing. But we live in such a society where it's like, can we say that's our purpose? Am I unique enough to bring that thing to the table? What is the plan? So not only, you guys, you're going to get your debt repayment, but you're actually going to get in touch with why you're here on the planet. And, you know, it's a thing that builds on itself, but it's a safe place for you to come and find that thing. Like Shanda started out being corporate and great at corporate, and now she's found her groove, which is teaching you all how to transform your lives. And so I just wanted to encourage you yesterday, today, tomorrow, in the round, we're going to talk about that. Then we move into debt repayment. We go into those things. I dropped the link in the chat because I saw a few of you are saying, well, where do I start? What's step one, etc. Go ahead, click that link, get yourself registered. You're just going to put who referred you here. You're going to just drop their name. It says who referred you, drop their name in the chat, in the bar. And then what's going to happen? You'll have instant access to the round. So by tomorrow, you can be well on your way. And just know that when I say you're not a tree and you can move, it really is up to you. And I don't think that the financial fitness round is really something you do one time. How many of you on here have done the financial fitness round more than once? And every time you learn something new, right? So you guys, I'm still applying these principles. Greg and I still have financial meetings every Sunday. We still review all of our purchases. Although there's more than enough money and I can buy whatever I want, right? Like literally whatever, and just go and buy the thing. But I still review. The principles build wealth long-term. That's the skill set. So it's not about what you can do in the next 30, 60, 90 days. It's about what you can do for the rest of your life. Because believe it or not, you are literally going to live every day. And you can either do it, you know, wealthy or not, moving towards your best self or not, right? And so I just want for you guys to have that opportunity. And yes, there is the link you guys dropped in the chat. So invest in yourself. Rick says I'm on my second round. Hey, Rick, I love it. I'm glad you're here. We let the boys play too. We call it She's Creating an Empire, but the boys are allowed to play too. So anyways, I'm going to be in the round this week on Friday live. So for Q&A, so get in there, get the information in your ears and your eyes, do the work. Each Friday we do a live Q&A. So you guys are going to actually get interaction coaching. But just know that you can go ahead, click the link that's in the chat, and then you can register right there, okay? You click the link that's in the chat, and you can register right there. And if you can't find the chat, it's the little bubble, He's Creating an Empire. I know we have men demanding, not even kidding, demanding becoming coaches, demanding a He's Creating an Empire. I don't know what we're going to do about that. I don't even know. Right now, we're working on the ladies. Okay. But I love you guys. Seriously, I love you. And I'm really grateful you're here. And the fact that you're here and your ego is down and you're able to step in and be like, no, I want this information. It's super impressive. I just want to honor you guys for that, because I have coached a lot of men in my career. And oftentimes it comes down to, you know, it's difficult for them to say, I need help to anyone in general. And the fact that you guys are here doing that, that's amazing. Sybil, a round is 4 weeks long. We are on week 1 right now, started yesterday. So you can get registered today and you'll have access to all 4 weeks. I know, right? Leah's like, I got guys too. I know, it's crazy. It's so good. I mean, it's a good problem to have. We literally have people raving about what we're doing. But also, boys can play, but it's still going to be She's Creating an Empire. So I love you guys. I appreciate you, Shanda, Lakeisha, Joel. So proud of you. Like 1 month, $5,600. What? Way to set the pace. Please make sure you put your testimony in the group. We are going to be doing a montage. You guys, we're going to start a collection of testimonies. It's super important to me that every event, and it's going to be a bit challenging, but every round we bring on how much debt in total has been paid off, because there's literally been hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt paid off since we started. And it's going to be millions. Just so you know, in my 12-year career, we've helped $36 million worth of debt be eradicated. Okay, 36 million. So if you're in a place you want to do this thing, or you're the person that wants to help other people do it, maybe you don't have any debt, but you know what it feels like to live with it, and you want to help other people, here's my challenge to you. Go put 10 people in the group. Let's go. 10 people in the free group. Get them registered, get them in there so they have a chance to hear the information too. Thank you, Shanda, for everything. Ladies, I appreciate you. Give them a shout out, you guys. Drop an 888 in the chat so we can appreciate them. They're volunteering their time to help you change your life. And that's a really big deal to me. So thank you all for everything you do. We'll talk soon, okay? Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye, guys. Well, thank you.